saw that video was stinky, and I just saw that video was stinky, and I just saw that video was stinky.
Now they will know why they are afraid of the dark. Now they will learn why they fear the night.
People, all going somewhere, all with their own thoughts, their own ideas, all with their own personalities. One is wrong because he does right. One is right because he does wrong. Pull the string. Dance to that which one is created for.
Monsters to be pitied, monsters to be despised.
Beware of the big green dragon that sits on your doorstep. He eats little boys, puppy duck tails, and big fat snails. Beware. Take care. Beware.
Now they will know why they are afraid of the dark. Now they will learn why they fear the night.
Sunday, we told you about a WHO report that listed several chemicals as potentially cancer-causing, including glyphosate, found in the popular weed killer Roundup. Now, in an interview for an upcoming French documentary, a Canadian scientist has been caught in an Aaron Brockovich-like moment when he's asked to defend that chemical against links to cancer rates in Argentina. Take a look.
I do not believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer. You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you.
You want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually, but not really, but
not really?
I know it wouldn't hurt me.
If you say so, I have some glyphosate.
No, I'm not stupid.
Ah, okay, so you...
No, but I know
so it's dangerous, right?
No, people try to commit suicide with it and fail fairly regularly.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you're ready to drink one glass of glyphosate?
No, I'm not an idiot.
Hi, and welcome to the QCC. We have Bonnie Wright, you're back, and my co-host in case I fall or the combat, they say, or my French isn't very good, which is funny because I was born in the French-speaking neighborhood in West Manchester. And we have Kathy Corkery.
Good to see you.
From the Sierra Club.
Yeah, thanks
which
for
was
having
my
me.
ex-wife's tree hugger from Los Angeles. That was her organization. The woman that took my heart out and stomped it like it was a cockroach in a Lower East Side tenement. When you did have tenements on the Lower East Side. But she's still my best friend.
Oh, that's good.
She's actually been on the show, but under a assumed name.
Oh.
Elizabeth Ropp, you're here to tell us about the travails of the bill to actually ease licensing so that responders and people dealing with people that have problems with drugs can actually use a type of acupuncture. But for some reason, there was a few complications.
Yeah.
And to those people that are convinced I'm a communist, hey, I've got an actual genuine socialist here. His name is Chris DiLoretto. You're from Peterborough.
I am, yes. It's good to be here.
And you ran and lost a recent election, which, is this your first election?
It was my very first race, yes.
Well, you haven't lived till you've lost two.
That's how I feel, yeah.
I led the ticket, the Hillsborough County Democratic ticket with fewest votes last year. And anybody that says that that letter from Comey didn't affect the results, you weren't out there. Then again, there were no Hillary Clinton signs that I could see. But then suddenly, at the end, Trump started mushrooming.
Right.
What can you do, huh? That's what
And he
my Uncle
continues
Benny
to mushroom.
Mushroom is a word, but it's going to lead me down the trail to its vulgarities. Let's start out first with Elizabeth. Let's update us. Now pull that. We're going to have to be with the mics, yeah.
Okay, so House Bill 575 is relative to the certification of acupuncture detoxification specialists. It's a long, wordy title for a bill that would basically allow recovery workers and other healthcare professionals to be able to practice ear acupuncture, a specific ear acupuncture protocol that it helps with withdrawals from addictive substances. It helps to ease cravings and ease anxiety and to deal with underlying trauma. And this is exactly what our state needs. We need all tools on the table to help people address this opioid crisis. We also have mental health issue going on in the state. There's not enough beds in mental health facilities. So again, more tools on the table that will help people that are struggling with mental health issues.
We're also facing Medicaid cuts.
Right.
I was at a conference with Senator Shaheen, where the effect on veterans of the Medicaid cuts is going there. And I was at the Veterans Hospital 2 days before that, and heard administrators talking about they're expecting a big uptick at the Veterans Hospital after veterans that are on the system start losing their health care.
So this bill passed through at the House committee,
Right.
19-1. So it was put on the consent calendar, passed through the House. Went to the Senate, passed through the Senate committee.
Everybody thought you
5
had
to
made it.
0.
Yep.
Put on the consent calendar. I arrive at the State House the day the Senate is voting on it. And I find out that the bill is off the consent calendar and an amendment is suddenly introduced out of nowhere on the Senate floor, putting up all kinds of red tape on this bill. We need solutions now for the opioid crisis. We need solutions now for mental health in New Hampshire. I don't know what the happened.
No F-bombing on the show. That got our friend Tom blackballed. If any F-bombing, it's me.
So now the bill passed the Senate with this random, strange red tape amendment.
What was so unusual, I was following the bill. Everybody thought it was going to go through, and we won't name any names. It seems that somebody that's against licensing
I don't know.
put in this red tape, yet your bill actually reduces licensing. And
just on this one
the
simple,
thing.
safe ear acupuncture protocol.
It would.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It
All
doesn't
I
make
know
any
is what a
sense.
senator told me, before they went in to vote on
Excuse
it.
me.
That's
Yeah.
that this was adopted, and it was adopted very late, and it was sat on for a little while.
Well, I think if I can
Kathy,
say
we give you the
something.
floor.
One thing of note is that this floor amendment never got a public hearing.
It never got a public hearing.
Right, because it had already gone through the House, it had gone through the Senate process, and it was introduced and decided without any input from the public, right there on the floor. And that is very unusual, though not totally unheard of. But it's
shame.
for a
Sin.
major change to a bill. It's really unusual.
Yeah, I actually have been working with an expert with the National Acupuncture Detoxification Association. She lives in Orford. She is a trainer of the 5-point ear acupuncture protocol. She's trained people all over the country, and she said this dramatically changes the bill and completely wipes out its effectiveness.
That's
At a
ridiculous.
time when we need solutions. So where we're at now is that it will go to a committee of conference. Okay, I got that right. And so
You should bring this up with the City Hall. Even Mayor Gatz and I have our
I have a meeting with Mayor
issues.
Gatzis on Thursday.
Yeah, I think, I think the city hall, they probably would pass a resolution. Talk to Bill Barry, my
They can
alderman.
make a phone call.
Yeah,
Okay.
because, hey, why don't you move that one over, and then we'll get to you,
Sorry.
you unredeemed socialist.
I like to share as a socialist.
Yeah. Hey, I have a funny joke about socialism, and it's not even obscene. But, it's me being long-winded, anyways. Speaking of skullduggery, which has not scuttled the bill. We'll have hope that it will be resurrected, and we'll come back to that. Speaking of skullduggery, our old friends Monsanto, you and Bonnie are ready to give them another hiding.
Right.
There's going to be the March against
March
Monsanto.
against Monsanto.
Hey, could we have 3B as a background? There we go.
Look at that fancy night.
I'm always getting these things. Matt Condon had. Oh, jeez. He's replacing Matt Condon. Who's the hottie on your show?
Kathy Corkery,
Bonnie Ray, Christy Loretto, John Hopwood.
Well, nobody here calls me a hottie. Always have to turn off my phone. The March Against Monsanto.
Yes, it is this Saturday.
In Concord.
In Concord. There are two actually in the state. This Saturday at 11 o'clock at Concord City Plaza in front of the State House. We'll have, it kicks off with a musical act called
Tyler Road.
Tyler Road, thank you. And they have a special song about engineered food and how it's bad.
Do you really think you're against having an apple that when you cut it doesn't turn brown? I mean, when you cut an apple, aren't you supposed to eat it?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. But yet, so much in our culture doesn't make sense.
You're right. We should talk about what it's about. Maybe Bonnie.
Glyphosates.
Glyphosate.
I have some glyphosates right here, Bonnie. Right? Would you like to drink them?
No, thank you.
Put some hair on my
I'm
chest.
smarter than that.
Hair somewhere.
Yeah.
Hey, you have to pay for the Burt Reynolds look.
Yeah.
Now we got this new young hottie who's going to get his own TV show, I understand. Socialists are hot.
It's true, Bernie Sanders.
Hey, I remember Bernie was running on the Liberty Union ticket, 1970. Hey, Bonnie. How are you, Bonnie?
I'm doing just great. Thank you.
We had a little setback on the right to know, though, didn't we?
Right to know GMO, yeah, that went south.
Even Obama.
Was
like Marla Maples, Trump said about her ex-husband, even the dog had turned on him.
Yeah.
Not to say Obama's a dog, but he even turned against it, right?
I was
the Dark Act?
Surprised when the Dark Act passed and he actually signed it, and disappointed.
But that's our bipartisan system.
Yep. Yeah.
One party, two wings.
So after all these years that we've been trying to pass a GMO labeling law here in New Hampshire, we no longer can. Congress has taken that right away from us.
You mean the Congress run by Republicans who believe in states' rights?
That one.
So you can take away an African American's right to vote, but if I want to know what's in my food, I have no right to that. Oh, Gloria. What did little Annie, Orphan Annie say? Glorioski, Daddy. You don't remember Orphan Annie?
No.
Am I that old?
No.
Well, are you from Manchester?
No.
Oh, the Manchester Union used to have the oldest comics in the world. That Bill Loeb died. Didn't want anything, communistic or social. Well, we'll just call you a communist. So we'd have Gasoline Alley, Smiling Jack, which probably went out in the 40s over the rest of the country, and you had Little Orphan Annie, and my favorite, Dick Tracy. But
I do remember Dick Tracy.
Trust me, Little Orphan Annie said Glorioski, Daddy.
Glorioski.
So you remember too?
But
okay.
the March Against Monsanto is against genetically engineered food, right?
And Monsanto
and
strangled.
The chemicals that Monsanto and the other companies produce, which
like Roundup,
glyphosate, Roundup. same thing. Most of the genetically engineered foods, as you know, and Kathy knows, are created to withstand heavy applications of this chemical so that it kills the weeds but not the plant. So we can, it gets into the soil, it gets into the plant, it's on the plant, you can't wash it off.
Well, the plants are actually engineered so they can accept glyphosate, so they won't be, it will eliminate, will reduce the amount of spoilage in the field.
Correct.
But then, you know, we went over this before.
Yeah.
The effects of it. This isn't, who's the monk? Genetics? Mendelbaum or Mandel or something? Listen, kids, this is 45 years ago I was reading this stuff. I can remember what Yaz hit in 1968, 301. But there was some
Well, this is just
monk
on
that, you
Saturday.
know, when they say, oh, it's just they've always genetically manipulated plants. Well, yeah, this isn't taking a branch off a wine sap apple tree
Right.
and putting it on a Cortland one,
Right, right.
which you can do and changes the genetics. This is actually going in and changing.
Absolutely. And I was in the Peace Corps, and in where I was, I focused on rice production with female women farmers. And one of the things that the farmers' practice would be is to hold on to a couple of kilos of rice seed at
Right.
the end of the harvest, and then use that for next season.
That's traditional in all agriculture.
farmers.
And even when you do your lawns.
And it's pretty logical and pretty smart to do if there are seeds or plants that produce more
Right.
rice than other plants. And so you pick those seeds
Yeah.
from that plant and you want to replant it for next year. Well, with what Monsanto has done, because they have engineered these seeds, they've put patents on these
Right.
seeds. And so they restrict the farmers all around the world from taking the seeds for the next year. They require the farmers to buy every single year new seeds.
They have to actually sign a license agreement that says we will not use this again.
Right.
Well,
and
with the corn in Mexico, when it would blow, the seeds would blow into another field, they would send lawyers to try to get the other guy to get a license. if
right,
it
the
was in their
pollen,
field.
right,
Yeah.
right. And this is the kind of things that goes counter to the claims of Monsanto and other chemical companies that
They're trying
it's
to
not
help people
feeding
eat,
the
right.
world. It is bankrupting local, sustained people who are trying to feed themselves, and it's bankrupting them and killing them.
See, that is the great thing. That it's like the green revolution of the '60s. That it's feeding people and stopping starvation. It's actually feeding their corporate profits.
Right.
Which reminds me, Mr. Delorado, of what Fidel Castro said. He said that the capitalist countries, America, they'd put a fence around the air and charge you for each breath if they could. What do you think of that?
Fantastic quote. Yeah. Well, I actually think that everything that we're talking about with regard to Monsanto and GMOs really does tie back into capitalism. Me personally, I'm not even necessarily opposed to genetically modifying food in and of itself as its own thing. Where that becomes dangerous is in today's, entire world, which is capitalist. Everything is driven by profit, and everything is controlled privately. So, we're not modifying this food, as you just said, for the purposes of feeding more people, or making agriculture more sustainable, or increasing yields in a way that would benefit everybody. We're doing it simply to protect the bottom line. To the point, as you pointed out, where we're licensing seeds. That's an obscenity. And that is something that is not unique just to Monsanto. That is capitalism.
Well, you would change. It's like they want to change the genetic patterning so they can patent it. Because I'm talking about the air is there in the commons, and when you're talking about rice, like when they used to send people out to Peace Corps and everything, that rice wasn't patented or everything. They did create certain high yield ones and stuff, but it was given, away.
Right, but they're also not the genetics of the plant have not been altered by
Right,
a
back in the Green
chemical
Revolution, right.
traced to a goat,
Right.
for instance, or
We had some
from
Some weird,
fish.
yeah.
the
And,
fish one.
Yeah.
And they don't even know how that's going to go and be digested in your gut
Right.
because it's just less than a generation.
Right.
But it was
No
really
long-term
right.
studies have been done on any of this stuff. It just got kind of slipped into the Americans' diet, and suddenly we kind of woke up and realized that most of our corn, most of our soy, cotton, including
Yeah, it was
most
like
of our
80%.
vegetable oil,
Corn, maize.
corn, they've all been genetically engineered with no long-term studies. So we don't know what's going to happen. What we do know is that the two primary traits that these foods have been engineered for are either to withstand heavy applications of glyphosate, and we should say glyphosate has been determined by the World
Health
Organization. They have a subcommittee called the International IARC, International Cancer.
It's a carcinogen.
They determined that it is a probable human carcinogen, the second to highest rating that they can give.
Hey, but this is America. Let's talk about the BST, bovine. I remembered it. It's what they give cows to create more milk, where the cow gets a distended udder and is in pain. And in Canada, around 1999 or 2000, they found out that Monsanto had bribed members of the Canadian FDA to ignore research from Monsanto that showed it was a carcinogen. And it was a great scandal in Canada because that was the Jean Chrétien government, the Liberals. Oh my God, we Canadians are better than Americans in every way, which in some way. But, so there was a big scandal here. So it's banned in Canada, it's banned in England, banned in Japan, banned in the EU. But guess what? At the same time, it was approved in America, even though it's a carcinogen in Canada. Because we all know as Americans, if there are no other countries, right?
Well, the
It's just
science
crazy.
is different in Canada, right?
Well, we could
Wait
go
a minute.
into Herbert Marcuse and
sense.
a left-wing critique of the scientific method, because honestly, your typical Trump voter or your typical peasant, it is reality that the world is flat. So you're actually selling them an intellectual bill of goods. But that's neither here nor there.
Well-
Monsanto, what other great things are going to be at this march?
Yeah, so it kicks off with a great local band, Tyler Road, and then we have a number of speakers, and I brought them so I wouldn't forget. We will have a beekeeper there.
Oh, cool.
Ann Antonucci.
Antonucci.
Yeah, and New Hampshire rep Jim McConnell. He's from...
I've heard his name before.
Tell me again.
Swansea, I think.
Swansea.
Swansea? I
Yep.
thought that's in Wales.
He's
If
from
it-
Cheshire County.
If it isn't on Route 93, or 101.
Or 101.
Right, 101. Marty Mitchner, he's an ecologist. Laura Wolfner, she's a molecular biologist. We're going to have all these real scientists there. And our good friend Bonnie Wright will be speaking as well. And then we're going to march around downtown.
Going to break
Concord.
anything?
Well, it depends. We
If
might...
it was a Bloomingburg bus and you were gun nuts, you would.
Yeah, they did break some things when they were
This
here.
is always.
They were.
This is our 5th year doing
This is a
event.
peaceful event.
It's peaceful, family. You can bring kids.
Yeah.
It's always been very family friendly and peaceful.
Yeah, and nice music. And we've got a whole list of sponsors and supporters and some of them will be tabling in Concord. I should say that there will also be a rally and march in Portsmouth.
Oh.
And that's in the afternoon. I think it's noon.
We start in
'Cause you share
Concord at
speakers
11.
with
I
us.
think they're at 1 or 2.
Okay. Yeah,
Are you
I
gonna
think
be at
it's
that
1
one,
o'clock.
too?
It's right at the end of the farmers market in Portsmouth.
Yes, at the same location as the farmers market.
Yeah, that's right. So up by City Hall in Portsmouth. And they'll have some speakers, and I think they're going to march to downtown.
Where can we get information about this?
It's all over the place.
Hey, could you put
it's
up
on the Facebook and
number 6? I have both the Sierra Club and the Right to Know New Hampshire. We have www.nh.right2knowgmo.org. That's your organization, Bonnie. And what about Sierra Club New Hampshire? What would be the best way to get to that?
Yeah, it's sierraclub.org/new-hampshire, or just find us on Facebook at NH Sierra Club.
Does the March have a website too?
There is, and it's on the Facebook
It's
page.
Facebook.
It's got a Facebook page. But, yeah, it should be great. I'm really excited. We made some signs. And we had some youngsters help us make signs, so that made it fun. And we've got a great lineup of speakers. I'm really excited.
Okay, we're going to go back to Liz, and then we're going to come back to you and talk about the future of environmental laws and activists.
I've got some happy news, some successes.
Okay, what
But
advice can you give to Liz? You two gals are. Do you mind if I use the word gal? I know it's very preppy in the 70s.
If
in
I can
Boston.
call you Guy.
My brother's name was Guy. So in the Army, everybody, hey, hi, Guy. That's my brother. You can call me anything you want. I call the communist right at the polls.
Well, I think...
what advice can you give Liz? You were getting pretty emotional there, which we thought that bill, which was so sane, and everybody supported.
Everybody supported.
Except one certain wretch, but we're not going to get into that.
Well, it's tough because the later in the legislative session, the more funny business there is.
But will they respond to pressure? Like if you start
Definitely.
working and getting the people, well, this is crazy.
Right.
You know, like I bet that Mayor Gatsis will support this. Him, and you get the aldermen, and a lot of them are state reps. Pat Long, Joel Elber,
Well, certainly rounding up your Manchester legislators.
Donna Soucy.
is a huge, because it's like 25 of them, you know.
Well, one of the state reps that is going to be attending the committee of conference is a Manchester state rep.
Great.
Oh, who is it?
It's Mark Prue. He's a retired firefighter. He represents, he's wards 8, 9 in Litchfield.
Oh, yeah.
And in Litchfield.
I know Mark, yeah. He's a Republican, but he's okay. Hey, my family's from Litchfield. I have to give a speech on Memorial Day. You had to hear all about that. But you had to hear the speech I won't be giving on Memorial Day.
But
he is a good
rounding
guy.
those guys up definitely is super helpful, and having people put some calls into them.
Right.
You know, all the stuff that you have been doing, just ratchet it up and put it into.
Time to organize.
I've been taking it up a notch like all year. Everything.
Anyone who has not watched Elizabeth work on this bill, I am so impressed. She has worked really hard. She has garnered so much support from the grassroots. It is absolutely incredible. I've worked on several GMO bills. I'm working now on a pesticide bill, and I wish my support, my energy was what you had. It is absolutely incredible what you've done.
We're talking about saving people's lives here, and somebody's playing politics. Of course, that happened to you too.
The Acupuncture Licensing Board does not care about helping addicts. I went to my very first meeting with the Acupuncture Association, and they said, let's kill this. Maybe we can work on something next year with when it's our idea, you know, because this issue will still be around next year. 500 more people will be dead by then.
Right.
This bill is fiscally conservative. It is completely safe. There is no reason that we should be in the mess that we're in right now.
with,
Yeah,
with
I'm pretty
a
upset about
Senate and a House that is primarily in support of deregulation.
Yeah.
That's what this bill is calling for, is
Right.
deregulation.
Minor
Yes, but you,
Yeah.
with your right to know, you have the Republicans, states' rights. States' rights. And then when it came to the state having a right to know, what happened to that? Power.
Right.
When you've been around politicians and cover them, power. There's a power play going on. It must be connected with what you said, though. She must be carrying the water for the people that don't want the loosening up of the license.
I don't know.
But this wasn't going to compete with them, though.
No.
Right.
It
No.
doesn't compete with them. So.
I had a day at work where I had a record double shift. I did 55 treatments. I went
Tell where you work.
I work at the Manchester Acupuncture
And
Studio.
which is great.
We do all
It is.
affordable treatments on a sliding scale of 15 to 35 bucks. A few months ago, on a record I worked double shifts on Saturday. I treated 55 people. After work, Eric and I went next door to NATO Subs to grab some
Eric
dinner.
being your husband.
Eric being my husband.
Who's been on the show.
We came out to the parking lot, and there was a couple sitting in their car shooting up right in front of the clinic where I work.
Jeez.
They're not
right
gonna,
there?
They're not going to walk through the door of where I work to get treatment. They need to be able to have accessible care. They need to be able to go to the safe stations.
Right, where a
and then
fireman might be able to do it.
Where the
Yeah.
firefighters are helping people get to respite care, and the respite care workers need to have this training to be able to provide this particular treatment with general supervision. And the licensing board wants direct supervision, which is financially unfeasible and has already killed programs around the country. This is what acupuncture licensing boards do. They keep acupuncture inaccessible for everybody else. My profession is a sham. Acupuncture is amazing. The profession is a sham.
So what they tried to do is get these people directed towards them?
Yeah, they think that no one's going to go to them. I would be surprised if most of the people who sit on the licensing board and the board of the association treat 15 to 20 people a week. I do that on a slow Wednesday.
Okay. While you cool down.
Ken, I just had an idea totally off script, and I wish I had thought about it earlier so I could have asked you. But by any chance, I'm on TV. I'm nervous. And I know your treatment helps nervous people. I'm not afraid of having needles in my ear. Are you able to do anything like that right now?
I don't have needles on me.
I was going to ask you to bring them because I was feeling
All right,
awful.
next week we'll be back. We'll do that.
Remember, I was feeling lousy, and I went to see you, and you did, and I felt better.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, but it was too late. Make sure you bring your needles, because
So
I
still
thought Bonnie
have
was
to
going
sit here and be nervous. Thanks a lot, Elizabeth.
I thought Bonnie was going to have to do the show tonight because I felt so bad. Acupuncture works. It works. But what about activism? Does activism work?
I think I know it does.
We're not
and
getting
I
you,
think,
Chris. We're going to have to get it over to you. Activism. You're talking about a situation. It's intolerable in a way, but I think you need to just become more. You just got to recommit and get people.
And I think about your constituency voices and the impact that they have on your decision makers.
Yeah, we had a great crew of people who testified at the House hearing and the Senate hearing. I made sure the entire cross-section was there, from people who are in recovery themselves to family members who've lost someone to addiction. We had a veteran who's struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I mean, we had everybody. I mean, and this was just, I didn't have to look far in my own community of friends in the state to bring together people to testify. And
We had
speak this bill.
acupuncture up at the VA, but then the guy left.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have any now because they had the staffing cuts up there and then the hiring freeze.
Right.
But
Well, so now you're going to have 6 or 8 individuals on your committee of conference.
what happens? How long does this take?
The committee of conference week is crazy.
So
It
people
is-
are going to be sick and they're not going to get this treatment. because of what has just happened?
Well, potentially. We still have a final vote at the Committee of Conference. And the Committee of Conference week or week and a half is really nutso. And the legislators will be running from one Committee of Conference to the other.
Well, what can people do?
So we know the members of the
House.
the conference committee.
The House Conference Committee. But I don't know about the Senate Conference Committee.
You will know.
All right.
You'll
Donna
know
Susie's
beforehand.
on it. She's okay.
She's on the Senate Committee, but we don't know if she's on the Committee of Conference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So once you know your House members, so you can start looking at them, seeing what makes them tick, and see who your friends are. You obviously know that already. And then start looking at your senators, and there are only 24 of them. So much easier than the House, you know. But think about the voices that were the most effective. It's such a bummer.
But it's not. Do we go to?
Yeah,
we do.
Absolutely.
And do we testify at
No.
that? No.
You need to go to the people
But
right
you
here in
go,
Manchester.
and you get people to go to them as well.
Okay.
And it's slippery. Like they will move things around. They'll
You've got a piece in the
cancel,
Union
they'll
Leader by Landrigan. You should write an op-ed.
Yeah.
Another op-ed.
Yeah.
Either for the Union Leader. Yeah.
What did
Another
the
one.
editorial board make a
didn't-
statement?
They didn't take my op-ed, the last op-ed that I offered, so the Conway Daily Sun took it, but we got a front page article in the Sunday paper a few weeks ago.
Union Leader.
Of the Union Leader.
Yeah.
I wonder if talking to the editorial board might be interesting.
Okay.
And if not them, maybe looking at who the members of the committee are, look at their papers and see if you have a Seacoast person, if you can get an op-ed in one of the Seacoast papers, that kind of thing. Does that make
better if
sense?
she put an op-ed in the Seacoast, or if she has an ally on the Seacoast that would put it in?
I think it's about thinking about your constituents and who's the most effective voice for your targeted senators.
Oh, yeah, so different people.
So it could be that, you know, Senator Innes wants to hear from somebody in his district.
Yeah, my friend Ryan lives on the Seacoast, and he works in the Respite Care Center here in Manchester, and his letter to the editor got printed up in the Portsmouth Daily Herald some time ago, like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we had Nikki Casey, who submitted a letter to the editor to the Union Leader. Christy Loretto submitted a letter to the...
There was the Ledger transcript and the Keene Sentinel.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Michael Joseph of Nashua submitted a letter to the editor that got printed up in the Nashua Telegraph.
Yeah.
But this was all before the Senate...
And an op-ed will be bigger.
Yeah.
And
You have to do it again.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And, you know, try to see if the editorial board will lean your way, and they'll put an editorial in there.
Okay.
And that's good to hear. You know, they will be representing the community, the district of the senator.
Bonnie, you keep fighting back,
that
don't
would be
you?
the 2 cents.
I don't give up.
Bonnie, you've had the setback with last year.
Well, we
You
can't
came
do...
so close.
No.
They came so close.
Well, a couple of years ago. Last year didn't do so well. But what happened, because the federal government preempted labeling,
Right.
one of the state reps, which is Jim McConnell, who is going to speak on Saturday, approached me and said, since we can't do GMO, do you have another bill that you'd like to introduce? And to make a long story short, Beyond Pesticides worked with me, and we came up with what is now HB 399.
Oh, so you have a new
We have
legislation?
a bill in the process. It is to reduce the use of pesticides, which ties in with Monsanto, to reduce the use of pesticides where children play. So we're looking at...
Is that like when I lived in Connecticut 10 years ago? They used to have signs about certain pesticides and stuff?
They put signs up and say, you know, we were just treated, but...
So that was what I was saying.
And they're up for a day, and
Yeah.
if it doesn't rain, it's still there, and your kids are playing in the playground and
The hunks that way.
so, you know, it's going to be where on school grounds and daycare and playgrounds and athletic fields.
Okay.
And I saw a picture of my grandchildren. They're very sports involved, and they were at a soccer game, and they were doing push-ups before the game. And, you know, from here to the microphone, they had their face to the grass as they were coming down and starting to breathe hard, and they're breathing all this stuff, all these chemicals into their system. So we're fighting that, and it was retained, so it will be coming up for study in a subcommittee over the summer.
You said it was for public parks too, right?
Parks.
Yeah.
No, not parks, playgrounds.
Playgrounds.
Yeah,
That's
no, we
right.
didn't include parks. Had to draw a line somewhere, but it's based on bills that was passed in Connecticut and New York.
What's the future of progressive politics in New Hampshire? Did you support Bernie? I don't remember.
I supported Bernie after the primary, and I saw the direction that things were heading. Then I threw my support to Hillary.
Yeah.
I did not want Trump.
So what is, all four of you, what is the future of progressive politics in New Hampshire? Is there anything, you said Rockingham County, the Democrats
Well,
are...
if you look at all of the all of the counties across the state have Democratic committees, and they've just been doing, there's a few towns left, electing officials to serve on
We
the...
just had in Manchester, I couldn't go, I should have gone and got some acupuncture the day before.
They're electing at-large candidates, and for
The state committee, too.
the state committee. The executive committee will automatically be on the state committee, and
And how did they do in Rockingham?
Rockingham is probably the largest county, because places like Nashua and Manchester are treated as a separate county. Rockingham had 14 at-large people elected, and there's quite a few progressives in that mix. And I happen to have been one of the ones that was elected. So
Are you on the Democratic committee now?
yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Are you going to support any changes? See, one of the things, though, people misunderstood, but the way, like, I supported Hillary because of various things. But when I was in the second round, when you picked delegates, I sent a couple Bernie people too. I sent Donna and Chris Pappas for Hillary, and then voted for a couple Bernie people. So I was straddling the fence. But see, there is that second round, and then there's at-large, and then there's a third round. I don't know what happens there. That's when, I guess, you get your money clip out or something.
I'm not sure how much the committee, maybe you guys might know better, how much that influences who
There's
the
my money
super...
clip.
Oh, look at that fancy.
Not enough to get me even into, your simplest candidate confab.
So I think things in New Hampshire are going to change in the very near future.
Elizabeth left the Democratic Party, didn't you?
In 2012.
Oh, you already left it in 2012. What happened in 2012?
Yeah,
I thought you left to go with Bernie.
Obama.
Oh, I was mad at Obama,
Yeah.
too.
I voted for him, but I left the party. But I voted for him because I thought, well, we can't have Mitt Romney. And then Hillary came along, and I thought, what's the difference between Hillary Clinton and Mitt Romney?
Gender? She's tougher than he is? Meaner?
So I'm just staying local. I'm just trying to solve issues in my own community.
You're not being wooed over the socialists, are you?
Oh, sure she is.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
What made you run as a socialist, Chris?
So yeah, that's a great question.
Since there is no
And-
established socialist party here, you had to run it technically as an independent.
Well,
right?
it was actually a nonpartisan race, so I wasn't actually designated
What were you
as
running
anything
for?
in particular. It was for library trustee. So it's a board of 5, and there were 2 spots open for election.
They really like to elect people in New Hampshire.
They sure
don't
do.
They?
Yeah, they sure do. Yeah,
wow,
and it's
library trustee.
Yep.
Did a Democrat beat you?
I believe that they are Democrats. I'm not 100% sure. It was two incumbents who are very lovely people. Actually, they were longtime public servants, very well established in the community. So it wasn't a lot of animosity in the race. But actually, the reason that I ran is I think a little bit different than the reason why people might choose to run within the Democrat or Republican parties. If I can skip back just a little bit to your question about the future of progressive politics in the state, and I don't often use the term progressive to describe myself because I'm a little bit to the left of that, but what I'd like to see, and I don't know if this will be the case, it's not a prediction, it's more of a wish, what I'd like to see actually is a little bit less focus on the electoral side of things, and certainly a lot less focus on the Democratic Party, which I do believe is a dead end, unpopular as that position is in a lot of circles. So as a socialist, one of the reasons that many of us believe is really the primary purpose of running for office is not because we believe in changing things from the inside. Getting elected and making legislative coalitions and passing laws. We really believe that the greatest value in running for office is the ability to organize among the people, to get your message out, to get concepts out and have conversations that you wouldn't ordinarily have had. I mean, I can go stand on the street and talk to people in Peterborough any day that I want to, but people have, and I found in this experience over the last month and a half, that people have much more of a reason to do so if you're actually putting yourself out there as a candidate for something. So we really see it as a means to an end and not so much as an end unto itself. And, I have wanted to run for office for a number of years. I've encouraged other people on a principled basis to do the same thing as independents, as labor candidates, as ideally socialist candidates. And this was really my first opportunity to actually practice what I preach.
You'd think that in New Hampshire, like I was saying it before we came on, with 400 seats, when I came back here, because California, you have different parties. Vermont has green, they have 150 people and they actually pay them.
I was just going to say that's a big difference.
You have a
though,
Green Party, I think you have socialists too, but they might be Greens.
Yeah, there's a number of independent left parties in both Vermont and California.
But they do have seats. Out of the 150, you got the Democrats, Republicans. But then they can go into a coalition.
Mm-hmm. And when you have a giant legislature like we do, that doesn't pay anybody. It makes it basically impossible for working people to actually run for office.
It's crazy.
I mean, I could theoretically run for a seat in the House of Representatives, and let's say I was elected, I wouldn't actually be able to serve because I couldn't actually get to Concord during the day, during the legislative session.
I know, it's ridiculous. We're the only state that doesn't pay people. Even in Alabama, they pay like $19,000 a year.
They don't require that you take a committee either.
It's ridiculous.
As we heard from Representative Fisher, he's not on a committee, and he's
Would you want him on a committee?
No,
I mean, if the committee is beyond, you wouldn't want that committee.
I mean, that's the question, though. What is he contributing?
He's
if
only
he's not
showing
even
up.
there,
He had a 5,000 vote majority.
He's right.
To think about, there's such
and they
clowns
didn't
up
know
there.
about. Laconia didn't know about his blog either.
He took great pains to hide it.
Right.
It was quite the investigation.
Was it HuffPo?
It was the Daily Beast that uncovered it, and they really did a lot of homework and legwork to track, anonymous email addresses to other anonymous email led a trail to figure out who he was.
Right.
Well, he's a jackass.
Yeah.
This is the state rep.
He's an elected jackass.
That's
Would be, a very misogynistic woman hater and would make comments about. I don't even want to think about it.
It's
Anybody
gross.
else want to
It's totally
characterize
gross.
it? I really don't want to.
It's gross.
Yeah.
Misogyny at its worst.
But the Republicans were clever. They threw the Democrat who, was cause. They were hardly the same type of case.
You can't compare.
She was just saying like there's these people, these hardware have a rape culture, or so, because the guy was talking about rape, and then they're equating that with what he was saying. But it was good because you create a smoke screen,
Right.
and now they're going to be traded off.
Right.
Well, they both got through. from what I hear.
Did they vote on it?
No,
I know
tomorrow.
I'm hearing from
Tomorrow,
Concord that
tomorrow.
they're going to get through.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised.
My source was Joel Elber, so, you know. Geez, they had him take a bunch of school kids to you've met Joel, haven't you?
No.
Bonnie, you haven't?
Not that I know of, no.
Kathy, were you ever on when Joel was one of my co-hosts?
No. It's
You've never
only
been on the
that.
morning show?
No.
With Peter White and the Moose?
No, I have to go to work, dude.
You can call in.
I'll try to call in. But
You can call in Matt's. You should go on Matt's show.
I know.
Matt Carter Unleashed, 4 to 6, Monday through Friday.
He was going off on something today.
Well, we had Kellyanne Conway called in today. I think she's the one sending MASH notes about the hunk here.
Oh.
I called in under an assumed name, and then myself. I had to change my voice as myself, which didn't work.
How did? Oh yeah.
I just used my butch, macho voice. But then I'm using my own name.
But yeah, it kind of defeats your purpose.
Matt's of a libertarian, so he goes around, but he's
Yeah.
good-natured.
Yes, he is. He is. But I only got bits and pieces of what he was saying today, and I didn't understand.
Frankly, neither did I.
But I missed the Kellyanne or Conway
Kellyanne Conway. She came out of her crypt.
to call him.
Oh yeah.
That's so nice.
See, when
He's famous now.
He's getting there.
Yeah, he's famous now.
Bonnie, you should call in too.
Yeah?
Matt's got 10 hours to fill. You were on Matt's show.
I was on Matt's show. I think I'm going to contact him to see if I can come on a show again.
Oh, there you
Do it.
go.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to note that there was some success last week.
Do you want me to throw up the March Against Monsanto again?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
have number 3B.
3B.
There we go.
Yay. Go to the rally. But this is different. It is the whole process. Democratic
Kathy
process
of the
is
Sierra.
so hard.
What's your official title?
Chapter director. Yeah, it's pretty good. That's a good one. But during the Obama administration, the last year, they had developed rules about fracking gas
Yes.
on public lands. And they required any new fracking to be, what? Efficient.
What does that mean?
So it required them to actually not use the equipment that they have now.
So you mean like when I turn on my water, I don't have a spout,
for
a flame?
instance,
doesn't
it would
seem
have
sporty.
prevented that, and it would have prevented flaring off. At some locations, they have so much flaring. It
When I
equals.
first went to Cleveland in 1979, that's what I remember about Cleveland, the flaring off. I thought the whole place would go up in flames.
They flare off annually enough power to run 5 million homes.
Why do they
Just
do
for-
that?
Because it's inefficient for them to deliver it to you.
That's why that's burning off?
Yeah. And they also one of the other factoids is that the gas flaring in North Dakota is so prevalent
state
at
Michigan back to the American
nighttime.
Indian. Yep.
Right. At nighttime, it's visible from satellites, from NASA satellites.
Hell, I bet they can hear my voice from a satellite or from the space shuttle if we still have
But
one.
from pictures, it's not audio. So there was a great need to demand infrastructure improvements.
What does
And
that do to
so
the environment?
It helps with climate pollution. It reduces that huge amount of gas and CO2 from these operations that haven't used improvements for years and years and years. So this would have required improvements, and it went through the whole rulemaking process, and it was
So Obama
finalized.
got this.
It was finalized.
What about Herr Trump?
So in the last 2 months, or what is it, May, January, March?
He's been around
May.
for
the last 5 months.
Okay.
The Senate has the power to stop an administrative rule from the executive office. So we've got the balance of power, right? If the executive office wants to do something, the Senate has a 6-month 6-month window to check it. That's good. But this has been done like once before the Trump administration that it worked. The Senate wanted to challenge this new rule. It's called a CRA. They wanted to pass a CRA, Congressional Review Act, on this.
You mean to stop Obama?
To stop Obama's new rule. And they didn't. They lost 3 Republican votes.
What about Trump? Wasn't he for fracking?
Yes.
What is he, just add
But he doesn't have the power to stop a rule in its tracks. The Senate has the power to stop an executive rule.
In the words of the Wizard of Oz, bust my buttons.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's the.
We only got a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
Let's
so
go.
It won.
What do you think the future of America under Trump? Can we successfully resist this old buzzard?
Can I talk about March Against Monsanto?
Sure.
We got a little bit more that we didn't talk about. We're going to have tables, info tables, with a bunch of different supporters there. We're going to have an organic seed swap. There is going to be packaged samples of organic foods that do not have GMOs in it. And when you come, bring a package of organic food to put into the collection, and that's going to go to a homeless shelter here in New Hampshire. So those are things that we hadn't talked on, and I wanted to make sure.
Well, we'll get both of you, we'll hook you up with Matt, and then we'll put it on the site, the various Facebook sites.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything you've got to say?
It is Saturday.
Right. It's this Saturday, folks. But we've still got a few days.
Yeah.
We can thump the tub.
Okay.
Excellent.
You look a little discouraged. But
Discouraged. If anyone watching is a constituent of Senator Donna Soucy, and recovery is an important issue for you, and you know that we need more tools on the table for addiction recovery, please call her and ask her to support House Bill 575 and anyone from her Senate ED&A committee who's going to be on the what is it again? The Committee of Conference to support House Bill 575 before the BS red tape amendments were added on the Senate floor.
Is there a place that people can get updates?
My Facebook page. I'm Elizabeth Robb.
ROPP.
We're going to leave the last word to our socialist friend.
Oh, we socialists love the last word, by the way. Yeah, I actually just want to...
You can cut him off any time.
Yeah, so we've already stopped rolling, right?
I don't know. I don't really look at the screen. Oh, we got 2 minutes left.
2 minutes.
All right, so yeah, real quick, I do just want to say that I am not just a solo act. I help to organize the New Hampshire Socialist Coalition, which is a totally multi-tendency and multi-party. It's okay if you belong to a socialist party already. It's even okay, I guess, if you are a Democrat. We're not going to help you elect Democrats or do Democrat things. But
Isn't Bernie a Democrat?
We're a bit to the left of Bernie, I would say. But we are welcoming, and so we don't require a lot of particular theory or dogma or anything like that. But we're an action-based group that is really just getting started. We've existed for 3 or 4 months now. And we've been active in Manchester as well as Peterborough and Keene. We're organizing public educational events, hoping to get the communities involved, hear directly from the working people of the communities what it is that they need help with and how we can directly get involved, start forming committees and councils.
Okay, and I'm actually going to give the last word to Bonnie. Bonnie, once again, tell the folks what the march
Snatched
against
away from the socialists
Monsanto.
again.
I double-crossed him as a capitalist. Clinton supporter. You can't trust me.
It's going to be at 107 North Main Street in Concord. That's right in front of the building with the Golden Dome on Saturday at 11 o'clock, 11 to 1. And then there is also one in Portsmouth at 1 o'clock immediately following the farmers market there, same place. So come to one, come to both.
Okay.
We have some great speakers talking in Concord. I'm really not that in tune with what's happening at Portsmouth.
Well, I got to wrap it up. Well, my Facebook page is still called Ward 13. Check it out there. And we'll put information about being on Matt Condon Unleashed in the afternoon. We'll get both on. You can just call. And we'll get the information out. Don't look so pained.
Well, maybe you can put the
Liz is
information about the bill, the committee of
Oh
conference.
yeah, we're gonna get everything out there.
Okay.
That's what we do here
Awesome.
at the QCC. Adios. If you like baseball, any of you, come
Au
next week
revoir.
with an orange jacket.
Oh.